New England Patriots. I bring them up for a couple reasons. One is it allows me to look at you on this screen, if you're watching on Peacock, and say the words in the microphone. That is, again, the 4 favorite words of anybody who does a show like this gets to say, I told you so.
I told you so.
I told you so.
A while ago.
Yeah, that was fandom talking over the spring, Chris, and the summer, when you had to talk yourself into Mac Jones being the right choice.
Oh, did I ever?
Did you ever?
Oh, baby.
But I told you so when I came home and sat down in this chair the day after Halloween, November 1. It'll be an easy date for me to remember. I sat in this chair on November the 1st after watching that Halloween performance by New England in SoFi Stadium against the Chargers. Took the kids to see their favorite NFL team, the Patriots. Because, again, I'm not going to look my wife in the face and say our children have to be Jets fans while Tom Brady's playing for the Patriots, winning championships. Child Services would have removed my children from my care on the spot.
They're out of there.
But I saw it. I saw it in SoFi Stadium coming off of that 50-point boat race win over the Jets. You could easily think any team coming off of that win starts smelling themselves. They start thinking that they could just do it, and then they get bit. We see it all the time in the NFL. You beat in a division opponent, a rival, you just boat race them. You're feeling so good about yourself. Then next week you travel all these time zones away, and you get smoked. Not these Patriots. Not these Patriots again. And what they do week in, week out is play tough defense that other teams in the league don't perform. And it's very confusing to a lot of quarterbacks, especially if you're young, especially if you're still in your first contract, especially if you don't have your regular running game, even though D'Ernest Johnson almost had 100 yards rushing. But Baker Mayfield and the Browns marched down the field and put that first touchdown on the board, and you thought, okay, this is the team that put up 41 in Cincinnati, and I gave Baker Mayfield all those attaboys. But then New England started doing New England things, which is they've got their own guy that you've never heard of, except T.J. Jefferson was pounding the table for Ramondre Stevenson over the summer. And guess who came up with 100 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns? But then again, look, they're doing Patriots things, which means, hey, Ramondre, if it starts snowing, you show up to practice anyway. Because let me tell you the story about Jonas Gray. And I can tell you stories about everybody that keeps on showing up in New England. And as long as you do your job, you get to have games like Ramondre Stevenson. And you get to stay in the system, because this is what the Patriots didn't have last year. Their system with people who are not only plugged into it, but are plugged in about it. That's what Belichick does, unlike any other coach in the NFL. And I know that infuriates a lot of other coaches, like Brian Billick. Whenever he came on the show, he said this line here, and he said it on NFL Network, when Belichick, all of us in the media say, he likes to take away the one thing you do best. Like no other coaches came up with that idea before. You know? Right. Like, oh, God, yeah, we never thought about taking away the one thing that you do best either. It just seems to be that much more effective. And they're situationally brilliant, and they don't make the mistakes on offense or defense or special teams. But the one thing that normally takes a team out of that, well, 2 things, I guess, and that the Patriots couldn't even overcome that last year, which is what they usually do. New England usually takes the velvet ropes that you see outside of the exclusive clubs and place it around their clubhouse, and whatever normally takes another franchise down a peg or knocks them out doesn't seem to affect them. If you lose your all-time great quarterback, it's going to knock you down a peg. And it did last year, especially when it was COVID. It was all sorts of manners of roster problems that they had. It was a convergence of everything that knocked New England below 500. But they're back to doing the New England things, even with what normally takes you out a rookie quarterback. Anybody watching New England Patriots games thinking that's a rookie quarterback out there? Anybody sitting there thinking, oh, he's going to make the rookie mistake. Oh, God, he's going to do this. He's going to do that. Oh, God, he's going to make. Nope. Mac Jones is running this offense right now over this 4-game winning streak that started after losing in overtime to Dallas. And before that, really, against Brady himself in the stadium, that they followed up with a snatching victories from the jaws of defeat win in Houston, where might have been the last time Mac Jones looked like a rookie quarterback was in that game in Week 5. Mac Jones, I'm going to say this, and I mean it. And anybody who sits there and goes, well, you're crazy, can't see it for what I'm seeing it. Mac Jones, right now, over this 4-game win streak, is operating this offense as good as Tom Brady did. He is, I'm saying it.
In like 2004?
Of course not. I'm talking about just in general over the last few years. I'm not talking about like, say, in 2007. I'm talking about this looks like the Patriots offense when Brady was operating it at a high level. And I know that anytime you bring up Brady, it's like, well, he's not Tom Brady. Of course he's not Tom Brady. There's nobody named Tom Brady except Tom Brady. But what he's doing is he's running this as efficiently as Tom Brady. He is. He's seeing it and he's throwing it. And he's not making the mistakes. 19 of 23, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Doesn't matter if he's throwing for 200 yards or not. Doesn't matter. It's so difficult to compare him to the previous quarterback because there are no comparisons. There are no comparisons. He's not going to an MVP like Brady did in that year because Brady didn't look like this in his rookie season. Did he? No, he didn't have a rookie season. He sat out in his first year operating the offense. Kind of looks similar, Christopher.
Well, that's what I'm
if you
saying.
remember
like
2001.
the first run through.
Right. I'm not talking about he's not the all-time great quarterback of all time.
I wasn't saying that you were. I'm saying in the first run through where it was like efficient, don't make mistakes. Maybe you have 1 or 2 touchdown passes, kind of let the defense and the run game carry it, and that's what Mac Jones is doing.
That's what he's doing.
Well, thanks for finally coming around.
No, please.
Oh, please. You don't get to take credit for calling New England.
What are you talking about?
What do you mean?
I'm telling you what I told everybody that they were.
You're taking credit for like, I told you New England was a playoff
Let's
team.
go to break.
I said it months ago.
Let's go to break. We're going to go to break. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial. There's so much more to talk about being back or not. There's so much more to talk about because it's not just these two teams that are back. And again, the Patriots are back like they are winning it all. Will they do it this year? I don't know. Keep on thinking that because they've got a rookie quarterback that they can't. They might not. They probably won't.
Probably not.
But right now they are crushing it. And yes, I'm the only one with a national resume that came on this program.
Wow.
And that came on this program.
I thought we were friends.
I'm the only one who came on this show 3 weeks ago and said that's a playoff team after week 7. Correct. Yes. And I'm willing to put that up against anybody else here, including all those people that I hear about what's going on back in New England, where they're talking about national voices overrating the Patriots. Because they're not happy in New England unless they're pissing on their own home teams.
Well,
I could call it as I see it.
That's a few people individually in New England
right.
who do that.
Right.
Just a few people there.
Well, I mean, as long as you're painting everything with a very broad brush, I figured I'll take that brush out too.
Yeah, I said they would make the playoffs this year. So.
Yes, you did. You actually did earlier this season. You said they'd make the playoffs.
I bet on them.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.